Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the latest version of Command and some of the big changes that have come through. The good news is there's not a crazy number of changes, but the also good news is the fact that we have a lot of neat things that are going to make things a little bit easier for us, especially as far as the database goes. So let's go ahead and jump right to it, shall we? So the first things first, and this is probably the biggest changes that you're going to see here, is that our database change has had a massive change. If I actually go up to Game and go Database Viewer now, you're going to notice a bunch of new toys that we can play with. The first one you're going to notice is we have a new thing called subtype, which allows us to actually select different types of units. So for example, if I want to concentrate on, let's see here, I want to do, I don't think there's any airships in this entire program. I was right, there aren't. But if I want to concentrate on something such as unmanned aerial vehicles, by selecting the subtype, it's going to give me all the different unmanned aerial vehicles that I can possibly go towards. I come up here and say, oh, I want to see anti-satellite interceptor. Notice, of course, we only have the one, which is the F-15A, which they basically put an anti-satellite missile on. Pretty cool stuff. The other page that we got, which is super duper interesting on here, is now all aircraft actually have color-coded radar cross-section indicators. You're saying, what? Let me go grab an F-22 for a second here and show you what I mean. Of course, we can't do that with an F-22. Let's see here. Here we go, F-22. Scroll, and we come down here. So what you see now is that all the radar cross-sections of the aircraft are now listed based on what weapon loadout you've assigned to that particular aircraft. So taking a quick look here, you can see the default F-22A has a signature in the front of minus 10.07 decibels. Now, if we come down here, you'll notice that if we only carry internal weapons, you'll notice that our radar cross-section drops to minus 21.4, which is a massive change as far as scale and detectability goes. So when you're planning missions now, you can come down here and say, oh my, this is going to be the optimum condition. Some of you are probably saying, well, why is the ferry condition not so good? Well, it's pretty clear because it's carrying a drop tank, and those things are pretty big. You also notice when we carry everything under the sun on the side of the aircraft that our detectability spikes. It goes all the way up to this particular number. I sort of wish this was like, yellow through green through red kind of a thing, but I really like how they've added this in as well. The next thing they've added onto the database page is we now have a dedicated sensors page. Now, this is something folks have probably been asking for quite a while, but it shows you every single sensor in the entire universe of Command all at your disposal. So, for example, if I wanted to look for a certain type, I can actually come to subtype now, say, give me TVM sensors. Of course, we don't have any TVM sensors in this one. Let's do ECM instead. So now if I come here, I can see every single ECM system in the program. Now, if I come here and get ALQ 184, for example, I can see this is a defensive ECM pod. It tells me what the different technologies are. It also tells me where you can actually get this particular sensor. So for example, let's go knock this one out. We'll do a semi-active. This will be pretty obvious here. We'll go grab on AA2B. You can see it's attached to the AA2B atoll. Now if I click on this, it'll take me to that weapon. And if I scroll to the bottom, now we can see exactly who carries that weapon that has that specific sensor. Not gonna lie, that's a pretty big missile. That's a 4 damage point missile. That was a pretty fun choice. So now that we have that capability, there's one thing I would say real fast, and I sort of wish that in the sensor page give you a little more technical details. Like when I pick this, yeah, it tells me the technology age and it tells me what it can do, but it doesn't really tell me things like, the max zoom on a camera or something like that. Kind of wish we had that, or the PK reduction. You can certainly dig into the database files yourself if that's something you want to do, but it's like, maybe we'll see that in a future version or something. So the next thing that they've gone ahead and done is they've made our lives just a teeny tiny bit easier when it comes to contact filtering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpause real quick and generate some contacts. And that should be pretty good as far as generating a couple different contacts there. So what I notice is I have this neutral contact. Now, I don't really need to look at this neutral contact. I've already successfully identified it. I don't have to stress out about it. I know that it's a neutral contact. I'm not going to get worried about it. But what I will do is go ahead and send my little dolphin over here. So what I can do now is I can actually go up to the contacts page, and there's this new button that says cancel filter out contacts. Or if you prefer, there's this filter out contacts option. So I can come in here now and say filter out all contacts that I don't care about. Boop. And now notice it automatically hides all the contacts that I'm not interested in. So we had a couple biologics here, we had a couple civilian vessels here, and they're still selectable. But notice now that we're not seeing all these crazy green and yellow lines all around the screen because we've auto-filtered them out. If you want to bring them back in, you can go back up to contacts and go boop, just like that, and you can snap them back into existence. I sort of wish we could do this by aircraft type and things like that, but it's definitely something we'll probably see again in the future. So that's the next cool feature. Our next one, this is going to be kind of interesting. We can now directly edit the fuel in certain types of vehicles we couldn't use before. So for example, I have myself my little type, this is a 206A. He's chilling underneath the water right here. Let's say I wanted to change his battery. I can now go up to the editor, scroll on down to unit actions, and then I can go down to set fuel quantity. Now watch this. I can set this to battery, and I can just come in here. Let's say he's got 800 batteries left. Now if I press that button, you'll know immediately that he's gone to charging his battery because his battery's got so low. But you can see you can now set that. Now in the past, we could do that as well. We could actually click on something like an aircraft, select unit options, do set unit quantity and airborne time, and we could actually set it by time. But now we can do it for other types and even ground units as well, which is kind of a slick little trick that we can do. Speaking of little aircraft here, this is a combat search and rescue aircraft. They've added a bunch of new things related to search and rescue. I'm not going to go too crazy into those today because that's probably its own video, given how complicated some of that can be. The short version of it is basically you can set any unit to be search and rescuable, and anything that has a search and rescue mission on it can be used to pick it up. So in this case, if I scroll down here, you'll see search and rescue, and you can see all that good stuff related to it. So it's actually pretty cool in that regard. And of course, as you probably know, we already have a unit built into the database. We have this poor guy called Stranded Personnel. He does not swim, unfortunately, but you can see that we could come over and pick him up should he be flagged as something that is search and rescuable. Now, some other little tweaks that have been done, especially around the weapons pages. Now, if I'm going to go over here to my little battle group here, I've got my little Zoom Vault, and I've also got, coming down here, this is the Princeton. If I click on the Zoom Vault real quick, and I go ahead and hit the weapons button, you're going to notice that there's a brand new little display you're going to see on your weapons. If I scroll down here to the triple tubes, you're going to notice it says I've got 3 out of 3 Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes mod zeros. But look what happens when I go over to my VLS. You'll notice that not only the weapon's not present, but it tells you if you have reloads available now. Now, this is pretty cool because if you have little cluster weapons and you need to identify what you have and what you can quickly slap back in there, you can now come over here and pop this. If, for example, we got ourselves an Oliver Hazard Perry, let's go ahead. Oh, well, we can do an Adelaide. That's fine. Oop, grab that one real quick. Pop that one. Click on weapons. You'll notice if I grab the front here, the single rail, it says that I have 30 weapons ready to go on the mount magazine. Now, this is super duper helpful because you can see exactly I have a training round and I have 80 of these harpoons ready to rock. So it makes it very clear that basically now our magazines page is implemented directly into our regular page as well. So that's kind of slick. Other things we've added, of course, is, I'm not saying we, what am I saying? It's not my game, sorry about that. Other things that have been added, of course, include a bunch of all brand new units. We have a bunch of new loadouts. I said it again, I'm so sorry, this is not my game. They've got a bunch of other cool things too, including things like, let's go grab aircraft real quick. I'm sure everybody's looking forward to trying this one out. There it is, including the Sequoia 75, which is a super fun, because if you take a look at the loadouts on this thing, all of this is brand new stuff. I mean, when it comes to Russian weapons, I'm usually pretty familiar with these things, but I've never seen an AS-22 before. That's absolutely pretty awesome that you have all these latest and greatest super weapons basically packed into this little platform, which is actually significantly more stealthy. Now, the other thing that's been added too is there's brand new unit files for TechView. So, for example, if I want to go up to my 3D view real fast, let's go and zoom in. Obviously, it's going to be a triangle because you're probably not going to have any models for him. Oh, there he is. Hey, look at that. So now what we have is we have updated. I did it again. I'm so sorry, everybody. Now they have new updated models for all the different things that are located inside the program. Not all of them, keep in mind, but several. So now that I want to go pop over my little TO206 here, you can see that some of the models are generic, but again, some of the new ones that they just added in, hey, I got to write that down, have also been done as well. I love this little lifeboat. It's so cute. So that basically covers up all the different changes. There have been tons of little tiny things. One thing that they changed, which I'm extremely, extremely happy about, is you can now save by pressing Control S again. That's awesome because we haven't been able to do that in a very long time. And they've also added a lot of little generic things into the program directly, such as things that enable you to go ahead and create more customized airports with different type of revetments and things like that. But I don't like to end a video without having some sort of bang. I've got to give the YouTube censor people something to do today. So let's see if I can go track down where that pesky little enemy boat was that I was heard so much about a little bit earlier. Let's see here. Well, I think he's out here somewhere. Well, that guy's making pretty good time. Who's this? 14 knots is nothing. 14, he's doing 4 knots. He's doing 6 knots. There's got to be something out here I could put a missile onto the side of. Sneak along this way. There's got to be something. Oh, no. Did they get away? There it is. Let's get out of here before I get myself shot down. All right, Allied team. Remove them. Oh, and I'm already getting shot at. Run away. Run away. It was a deception decoy there. I think I found what I was looking for here. This poor Grish is just chilling. He takes a pot shot at my poor dolphin. He starts to drip, and he's gone. So hopefully this video is helpful as far as showing you some of the cool new changes. There's a lot of Lewis-side stuff too, like a lot of new things have been opened up, such as the crew variable, which is definitely going to be wonderful for people who like to do search and rescue things in Lua, but that is for another day. Enjoy.